Peru, South America's third largest country, is located on the Pacific coast of the continent and has an extremely diverse culture, including linguistic diversity. Specifically, many Peruvians speak Quechua, one of the indigenous languages, while others speak Spanish. Peruvians are taught English throughout their schooling as well. Furthermore, because Peru is naturally divided into three areas, the coast, the highlands, and the tropical forest regions, people are naturally segregated and thus have created cultures for their own ways of life. This diversity has created several problems for the educational system in Peru. For one, Quechua children are highly underrepresented in their early education years. Second, education in rural areas is not as well funded and staffed as those in urban areas. Specifically, these students have classrooms where students from multiple grades are taught by one teacher. Finally, adult education programs in Peru are struggling. Because approximately 50% of higher education takes place in private schools, the Peruvian Ministry of Education has implemented public programs for adults. As of 2007, 17,000 programs for adult basic education were in place in the country. These programs use the same curriculum as the public schools and have the aim of ending illiteracy for those over 40. Additionally, in rural areas, the Ministry of Education is trying to create access to higher education for adults through satellite campuses. Students enroll in the Peruvian education system at a higher rate than many other Latin American countries, including those who have a higher per capita income among their citizens. As of 2013, it is estimated that the Peruvian education system serves over 6 million students. Additionally, the system employs 320,000 public employees, many of whom are teachers. Throughout the country, 44,000 public education centers are in place to facilitate learning for students from inicial levels for children aged 5 and younger, through primaria, roughly the equivalent of United States elementary school years, and through 5 years of secundaria, or secondary education. During their years in school, students are exposed to various subjects. During the first inicial years, students are acclimated to their social and school surroundings. During the second level of inicial, students begin to be exposed to basic mathematics, communication, personal and social science skills. It isn't until the primaria years that students really begin to learn concepts in specific areas, but the inicial years serve to prepare the students by exposing them to basic classroom instruction. In the primaria level, the students begin learning more specific topics. For example, in their communication studies, they introduced art education into the basic study. Furthermore, physical and religious education begin to become part of the curriculum in primaria years. As students reach the secundaria years, their curriculum diversifies even more, with the introduction of workforce education, social sciences, foreign language, and technology. The Ministry of Education has created minimum time requirements for instruction at the different educational levels. For students in the inicial grades, the students are required 25 hours per week of instruction for a total of 900 hours per year. Upon reaching the primaria, students are required to receive instruction for 30 hours per week for a total of 1,100 hours per year. Finally, as of 2008, the secundaria required instruction time was raised to 40 hours per week, resulting in over 1,400 hours per year. Because these instructional times are the minimum requirements, many private schools provide more time for their students. Then, this increase in time leads to an increase in diversity of activities, which includes workshops that reflect student interest and future career choices. Teachers in Peru can be certified in one of two ways, either through obtaining a degree in education or by obtaining a teaching certificate. The process to become a teacher requires a comprehensive training in intercultural competence. Furthermore, teachers are required to be ethically sound. Teachers in the Peruvian education system must be a member of the Association of Teachers in Peru to be in good physical and mental health and not be convicted of a felony. There are 5 levels of teaching in Peru, each of which requires a minimum time in the classroom. Upon reaching level 5, teachers remain there until the end of their careers. Because the highest percentage of students in Peru are in primary schools, this area is of particular interest. Primary schools are located throughout Peru. As of 1998, there were over 33,000 primary schools that had a total student enrollment of 4.1 million students. Serving these students were approximately 161,000 primary school teachers. About 40% of these schools were located in rural areas, where about 96% of the rural primary school age population was enrolled. However, many of these schools were single teacher schools where one teacher serves various grades of students. In Peru, 38% of primary school teachers work under these conditions. And the geographical distribution of schools in Peru is different between the public and private sectors. For example, 84% of the public schools are concentrated in 9 rural areas, while 91% of private schools are located in the urban areas. Additionally, the number of teachers to grade levels changes depending on the type of school. In the Peruvian education system, the number of public schools where the number of teachers is greater than or equal to the number of grades is 22%. In the private sector, this percentage is 54%. Despite the differences in these ratios, all Peruvian teachers are working towards educating Peru's students. The Ministry of Education continues to promote this goal by providing resources to schools. It is their hope that Peruvian citizens can reach their potential through education.